Okay, looking on page 14, we're going to be graphing the solution of the system of inequalities. So this is different from equations in that we're not looking for one point. We have a bunch to look at because it's an inequality. So here, the solution means whatever points are in the double shaded area. And if that point happens to be on a solid line, the point counts. But if it's on a dashed or dotted line, that does not. So make sure you have that note here because that could mess you up if you don't pay attention to what type of line you're looking at. All right, once you have that, pause it if you need to keep writing. Come down to example 1. And notice for all of these inequalities, y is by itself. So fortunately, we don't have to rearrange or do anything like that, but we do need to get these in our calculator. So get to your calculator. Remember, if you need to get a new one, go home, 1, no, and 2 for graphs. And then to get that greater than or less than sign, you can just delete it and choose the one that matches. So for the first one, we have greater than, which I did not select. Here we go. And negative 2x minus 1. So that line will look something like this. So remember to hover over to see if it's dotted or dashed or solid. And then we need to look at how to actually get this point here. So if you do not remember how to graph this from rise over run, you're going to need to go back and press tab and type that equation in again with the equal sign. So keep it as equals, don't change this, and put negative 2x minus 1, and then press Control T so that you can look at that table. So remember, for every one of these inequalities, you need to graph it twice. So we have our first point, 1, negative 3. So 1, negative 3. So I'm going to put a point there. Going back, we have 2, negative 5. Then we should have 3, negative 7, and I'm going to keep going with the pattern down to right 1 because that's my slope. And I'm going to do that so that I get all of our points from edge to edge. Okay, once you have this line drawn, you need to go back and double check your calculator. Remember, this was, and I'm going to move the table, a dotted line. I know it doesn't look like this because we have that second line here, so if you need to, just go ahead and delete the second line and look at your inequality. So remember, this is dotted. So I'm going to leave this dotted and shade above. Okay. So all of this needs to be shaded, and then you need to go back and do it for your second line. Now we do the same for the other one. So going back to the calculator, I'm going to clear it. And I'm going to keep the equals just so I can look at the graph. And it's minus 5. Okay, so you can put Control T here, look at your table. The method I'm going to use is rise over run, so I'm going to get rid of that quickly and go back and look at it with the less than or equal to symbol. Okay, so 1/2 x minus 5. Okay, and it's a solid line, and I know I'm going to shade below. So over here, I'm going to say, okay, my y-intercept is negative 5. So I'm going to say negative 5, I'm going to use blue, is right here. Okay, my slope is positive, so I'm going to go up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, and that pattern is going to be what we continue with until we get to the edge. Okay, remember this was a solid line, so I'm going to keep it solid. Okay, and now we're going to shade below. Okay, so all of this edge to edge needs to be shaded. And if you notice on the right corner, as I'm shading, part of this turns green. This is my double shaded area. So right here, from this line to the blue line, all of this is my solution. Okay. So I'm going to check just like I did before. I go 1 and I go up to 9. That is definitely not there, so I'm going to write no. -6 to +5, no, that's definitely not one of the points. 6, 2, nope, that's definitely outside of the green. And then 7, -8, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yep, that one looks good. And then you can go through and finish these. So look at 0, -3, -4, -2, and remember if it's on this line it counts, but if it's on the dotted or dashed line it does not. Okay, and the very last thing that we need to do here is find the intersection point. Okay, so to do that I need to have both of my graphs in the calculator. So I'm going to go back over here and just double check those equations, or inequalities, excuse me. Okay, and then find the other one. Okay, and then we should be able to do menu 6-4. Hopefully it doesn't give us any problems with the inequalities. Go over, and sure enough, there it is. So we have 1.6, comma, -4.2. So we have 1.6, and then -4.2. Okay, so y'all really should be good about getting the graphs on here, but let me know if you have any questions. Remember, get your graphs on it, check the points at the bottom, and then menu 64 for that intersection.